There's desire starting in this race, reaching the cut line and making the round of 8. Finally, I see the 22 in the rear. Go ahead and keep me out and I'll defend from here. Did you see my ML and move? Don't underestimate the things that I will do. There's the 11 in the spot I need. Reaching the inside, it spins us both indeed. The ties would have given us enough, but this keep me thinking we almost had it all. Instead it's Logano, even though he was so slow, I can't help feeling we could have had enough. ROVAL in the deep, I had my playoff in my hands, and I stayed out and got beat.
Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Front Stretch Happy Hour Show. I am your host, Mr. Bryan Nolen. We got a great guest on tap, but before we dive into our guests, I'll bring in my compadres that are with me each and every single week. I'm going to bring in Pit Lane CPT, Mr. Dalton Hopkins. How are you doing, handsome?
I'm doing great. We have so much to talk about and not enough time.
I know.
So dude, there's just too many topics.
So many. The guy that had the fantastic song, Mr. Michael Massie. Massie, how are you? You got a nice haircut, looking good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you to Trenton for getting me on the right path. That song by saying he wanted me to do the Limp Bizkit, keep rolling, keep rolling. But I am not skilled enough to do that riff and rap at the same time. So we went with ROVAL in the deep instead. But yeah, I'm doing great. Awesome to be here.
And let's dive on into our guest. This guy, I grew up watching this guy, whether it was NASCAR Trackside, coming home from school on Friday afternoon. I know I'm going to make you feel old for a little bit. But
that's all right. It happens.
Okay. Whether it was waking up in the morning, watching NASCAR Raceday, or ending with NASCAR Victory Lane, you can catch him at the SMI tracks this upcoming weekend, the final one with Las Vegas with Trackside Live. The guy we all grew up with, Mr. John Roberts. John, thank you so much for coming on the program. How are you?
Hey, no problem. All is well, man. We're just having a good time here. And like we were talking about just a minute ago amongst ourselves, time just flies so quickly. It's amazing. But then again, we still have a good bit of racing left to go. And then you'll have that quick thing that they call the off season, which really isn't an off season. Then you're back at it again. But man, all is well in the racing world. Things are still going around.
Let's dive on into our first topic of this evening's program. John, do we want to talk about the TV ratings? Do we want to talk about the playoffs? Just what is on your mind this evening?
Well, it's always kind of amazed me that race fans, I think that there's two things that race fans don't like: change and the way things are. And when you had an outcry for something at this time of the season, that when we went to this playoff thing, and the problem with the playoffs at first, though, was once you won, there wasn't any incentive to win again. Then there was no quote unquote elimination. NASCAR puts both those things in, and I think we're at a better place right now than we ever have been in terms of choosing who the champion is going to be. And right now, we wouldn't be talking to so many people right now. You wouldn't in the trucks and Xfinity. Sorry, that's my dog. He's barking at me. I don't know if you can hear the doggy or not, but if you if you look at the dominance that these guys have had, this could be over in like 2 weeks now, and there'd be no drama for the championship. I like the way this format is right now. I know a lot of people are pretty emotional one side or the other, but I'm just a big fan of it. I think it adds excitement.
I think all three of us here, the three weekly guests, are all different because I'm the type of guy that wants the 5 and 5, having 5 races and then get eliminated and get the other 5. I feel like it's a happy medium where we're compromising. We're not going to do the one race game 7 moment, but we're not going to have the 36 race. Michael Massie, you have something different.
Yeah, well, I'm a traditionalist, so I will always prefer the full season. I will say, though, Sunday I was entertained by what would have been an otherwise boring race. So I will give them that for the format. Now, the thing is, like, should Logano, it came down to Logano and Chastain, should either of them be in the running for a championship? Because I just... That's the way when I sit down and think about it, I'm like, that was great to watch them battle out, but at the same time, but neither one has won a race since May. So like that's where I'm kind of like, I think we're letting too many people into the playoffs. But yeah, I will settle if they just extend it from that one race, one race take all that they have now to 3 or 4 races. Like, I'll be happy. I will gladly accept that, but I'm too old school to ever get away from secretly wanting that full season. But I'm not like some people where I'm going to insult you and put you down for wanting it the other way. It's people have opinions, everyone's got an opinion. Doesn't make one more right than the other.
I will agree with what John said in saying that there's 2 things that NASCAR fans are racing.
Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Should be and change. And look, I 100% agree. It doesn't matter what we do. People are gonna be upset. People are gonna, curse and moan, and they're gonna wish things were different. And look at us. Like, all 4 of us have a different way of how this format should be. So you can't please everyone. I like, for me, I personally think the chase for the cup format was like the perfect way. That was the perfect middle ground. You have a playoff system, but it's also a little bit more, I don't know if you could say legitimate, but it satisfies people because it's a 10 race stretch. I mean, you got to be good if you're going to make that 10 race stretch. And I think there's a way they can make that work. However, there is no doubt that the ROVAL was a lot more exciting because of this elimination style format. And because that never would have happened if we didn't have it. The Ross Chastain, the Logano rovaling in the deep, that never would have happened if we didn't have that. And multiple other moments that have occurred in the last 8 years that would also justify that. I mean, we never would have had the Hail Melon. We would never have had the Fail Melon. We never would have had whatever you want to call Ross Chastain did this past weekend. So that never would have happened. And I think people look at the playoffs and they say this is the reason why the ratings are low. I have 2 thoughts on that, and I think this is going to be kind of like my way of introducing the ratings part of this topic, which is like, look, I'm looking at Adam Stern's tweet right now, the viewership for all the motorsports within the United States, and NASCAR Cup still number 1 at USA Network. It's 1.5 million. Is that a great number? No, not really. But Formula One, which was on ESPN, only had 900,000, 930,000 if you want to get specific. We're still number 1. I mean, that's and on USA Network on cable. It's our ratings low, yeah. But again, we've talked about this. It's during the NFL season, and we had some really solid games on Sunday. We had a race during the witching hour, as some people like to call it. It's not great. Like, it's not a great time for us to have these kinds of races, and I think we're doing okay. But I will say that if we had a season-long format, ESPN 8 in the morning, yeah, thanks, Finley. Yeah, it's still ESPN, whatever. It's still got, yeah, call me when they actually beat NASCAR. it's still. I've lost my train of thought already. Thanks, Finley. Thank you so much.
Oh, Dalton. Oh, Dalton.
Well, guys, what people tend to forget is that the way we watch TV and take in media right now has changed more in the last 10 years than it has in our lifetimes. There's less of a sample audience to get. So to me, really, if you look at the way things have changed, it's like cost of living increase of $1. Well, it was 50 cents back then.
Mhm.
I think that the number of people that are out there to get because of that sample, it's makes it a lot more. Like a 1.5 million to me right now is probably like a 3 million 5-6 years ago because of the audience that was out there. But I think that as a victim of this a couple times in the TV business, when you move stuff around a dial, you lose viewership. The NFL, if you're an NFL fan, your game is going to be on at 1 or 4 o'clock Eastern time, and it shifts. But every weekend, it's the exact same thing. When you make stuff difficult, we had NASCAR Victory Lane was the second highest rated program on Speed Channel because it was consistent. You could find it right after the race every time. Then they tape delayed it. Then they moved it back. Then they moved it to the next day. Once they started doing that, the ratings plummeted. So if you look at the standard start time that NASCAR used to have, there's two things that I believe would absolutely fix NASCAR ratings right now. Standard start time. East of the Mississippi, 1 o'clock start. I thought anything west of that, 3 o'clock start. Consistent every weekend. If it's early where you are, get up and drink an extra beer. But the other thing that really would save this whole thing is, folks, NASCAR needs to insist that the TV networks broadcast the races on their broadcast network. NBC, I understand the concept. NBC owns USA Network. They bought the programming from NASCAR. They can put it where they want. Well, if NASCAR and they should be together, they should all agree with this, whether it's the network or NASCAR. If you have a race on NBC, it's going to get many more viewers, right? If it's on the cable network and if it's moving all over the dial, it's a moving target and you can't quite hit it. Make it easy to hit, and those are the two ways to do it.
As a former TV guy, John, and try and answer this question: why, like for example, for this weekend, the race is on USA at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Why did they move the start time a little bit later? Why couldn't they have put it on NBC earlier and have like a lead into Football Night in America?
I have absolutely no. I don't know why they wouldn't do something like that.
Yeah.
It'd be a fantastic lead-in, but also the first year that I saw this happen, when Fox and NBC took over the TV contract in 2001, the vast majority of those races were either on Big Fox or NBC. They moved a couple to FS1 to help boost the ratings and get the viewership up. But after that, where they went with the programming, it's and now I lost my train of thought too. Sorry about
We
that.
tend to do that on this show.
Yeah, we do it. Well, it's late. It's late.
It is
in the
late.
evening. But again, this whole idea about moving stuff around the moving target. If you just make it easier for the viewer to hit, you can do it.
Yeah, you're right. I know that every Sunday I turn on the TV at 1 p.m. There's gonna be a football game ready to watch.
Yep,
So
exactly.
I am with you on the consistent start times, getting them out of that window where NFL games are ending and other ones are starting, like you said, Dalton. I love that Mississippi River rule you were talking about there.
It's population too. It's population based.
Yeah, it makes complete sense to me. And I get it, like they're paying more money to put some of these races on their cable stations. The networks are. So, but I feel like there'd be a better way where they could still make more money and get a better boost out of it by just having have a race on NBC, then like the next two on USA, then another on NBC. Instead, you've gotten this gap from Daytona. I want to say July. The August Daytona was the only NBC race so far. And then there's not another until the week after this one.
Yeah, and that's big. That's a really big thing, guys, because we take it for granted what we have in terms of reception. There's many households in this world that that just still have those big network channels, and that's the only ones they can get. It's just simply in more households. You got to get it in more households, and when again, the NASCAR concept is they bought the TV rights. They can put the programming where they want to. But the plain fact of the matter is there's not as many households. You're not going to get as many viewers. And I think everybody would want to have the concept, of the rising ship. Put it over on the main network. We'll get more money for advertising. We won't have to worry about our cable stations.
Yeah. I also think some good news came out this week that NBC Sports Network is coming back. They're reviving it. And my hope is that races start being put on there, the cable races start being put on there instead of USA. Because if I'm turning the TV on, I'm flipping to USA looking for Law and Order reruns and stuff like that. If I go to NBC Sports Network, I'm looking for sports. I'm looking to watch sports. I see a race on. That's what I'm going to check out. I'm in the mood to watch sports. If I'm looking for Law and Order, I'm not in the mood to watch sports. So I think that will help a little bit, but still not as big as putting on those networks. I agree with you there.
Yeah, and I think NASCAR, I understand that they, you just sold this product, and that customer that bought the product can do with it what they want. We can't go and tell you how to drive your car after you buy it. It's your car. But you can say, hey, this is a major league sport. I want it treated like a major league entity, and it will help both of us. It will help all of us.
I think there is something to be said also with the idea of, I think what was brought up earlier with NBC, I think Brian, you mentioned earlier, leading into Sunday night football, or on NBC. I mean, that's sort of what CW is doing, and it's working.
Yeah, with college football.
That's what CW is doing with the Xfinity series, and the Xfinity series is just killing it in the ratings. I mean, over a million almost every week. Not this week. It was only at 800K, but still, my point stands. I mean, Xfinity series puts on a great product, and the CW has been doing a great job with its coverage all year long. And I think it's something to be said with. It is a dedicated channel to the Xfinity series. It is your one-stop shop for NASCAR Xfinity series racing. And I think there's something to be said about that. We mentioned this in the last 2 weeks because we keep bringing up the ratings and all that for the last 2 weeks. But I think there's something to be said that having a dedicated network, and there's nothing you can do about it, has had standard start times, so it seemed to work well. So to your point, John, I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about, standard start times. It's really easy to understand when the race is going to start, where you got to go to watch it. Because with the Cup Series, and there's nothing we can do about it now because we're in this contract for the next almost 7 years, I want to say, maybe longer, because we got like 4 or 5 different channels we got to watch these races on, and one of them's not even a channel, it's just Amazon Prime. So having that dedicated channel was super helpful. And I remember what I was going to say earlier. I think if we didn't, going back to the playoffs idea, I know we got to move on, but going back into the playoffs, I don't think that the ratings would be any better if we didn't have the playoffs. In fact, I think they'd be worse. I think the reason
I would have to agree.
I think the ratings, like the way they are right now, what we're seeing is the benefit of having the playoffs. That's what we're seeing. It's just that the way that the media is now, the way that the market is now with all of sports, everything's going so far down. The streaming that's available, people aren't really tuning in as much. It's not just us, it's all of sports. What we're seeing is the result of that. That's that in even though we have the playoffs are helping. We just don't realize it. I feel like that's the result of that. Now, there's some things that we got to tweak, absolutely, but I still believe that if we had a season-long format, and to your point, John, if we had a champion crowned with like 2 races remaining in the season, I don't think people would tune in as much, and we've seen that from other racing series.
Last but not least, Trenton, our producer, you wanted to share one final thought before we move on?
Yeah, listening to you guys talk, one thing I've noticed comparing the football and with NASCAR is NFL fans are unhappy now too, because they have to have like 10 million subscriptions just to find the games now. You have to have You have to have like this streaming service, that streaming service. You have to have Red Zone. You have to have the NFL Network. You have to have ESPN, CB. Like NFL, they're everywhere also, but they're still getting the viewers. And so it's not just NASCAR that's jumping around. It's the NFL also, but they're somehow making it work.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It feels like ESPN, ESPN Plus. You have CBS, NBC, Fox. I'm missing Amazon,
Netflix, Peacock.
Yeah, exactly. There's like 17 other ones. But let's move on into our second topic of the program. Dalton, were you going to do the ROVAL versus the Oval, or was that Massie?
I'm the one who brought it up in our
okay. Then you can
our strategy meeting. But Massie, if Massie wants to bring it up, he can.
Either way works.
I'll bring it up because I'm gonna be honest with y'all. All right, I think I saw something earlier. Jeff Gluck retweeted, I think it was Daniel Cespedes, who did I might be wrong about that actually, but somebody did a poll. It was like, what would you rather see? What would you rather see, the ROVAL or the Oval? And I think only like 17% voted on the ROVAL. I guess I'm part of the 17%. I am going to get crucified.
This is going to be great.
Yeah, I know. Look, I've had some very against the wind takes. If there's I'm sure there's a better way of saying that, but I have had some takes that are against the popular vote. And this is absolutely one of them. Look, I understand the idea of wanting to go back to the Charlotte Oval, especially with how the next gen car is. It's put on a really great show at the Coke 600, and I cannot disagree with that. I think it's one of the best races we have all year. But I think there's something to be said with the idea that because of that, I believe that the Oval is more special because it only has one race. Because the Coke 600 is the singular race date for the Charlotte Oval. And therefore, it makes that race more unique. It's already unique because it's got 600 miles and it's supposed to be a crown jewel race, but now it's more unique because of that. And secondly, the ROVAL has already, it is the only oval road course hybrid track that we've got on the entire calendar. We used to have more, but now it's the only track that we've got in the calendar. And I'm talking with my hands here. I look like Donald Trump. This is that's the only hybrid track that we've got on the calendar now. And there's other reasons that go into that, but I also agree that we need to have a road course in the playoffs. I don't care what anybody else says. I've heard the other podcasts. I don't care. There should be a road course in the playoffs. And if you don't want the ROVAL in, okay, but keep in mind, you got to put a different one in. John, I'll kick it off to you. I'd really like to know what you think.
I love the fact of giving a fan two different looks from one racetrack. And I think you also have to, at the same time, you have to balance it, right? It's like what Bruton Smith once said. Somebody asked him, man, why don't you just build another track like Bristol? And he said, well, if I built another track like Bristol, it wouldn't be unique. It wouldn't be one of a kind. And so that's what I think. I'm sorry, guys. I got a block on there we go. I fixed the screen. but anyway, there's something to being one of a kind and something being special. That's what the ROVAL is. And I don't know why people are hating on it so much because it's something different. If you went back to the Oval there, yeah, there's been some great Coke 600s recently, but that would still be asking the fan to come back to two Oval races. One's just a little bit shorter than the other one.
Yeah, Massie, really fast. We got tons of comments. I just want to shout a couple people out. Paul, James, Finley, Billy. Just want to. We'll get to your comments in just a little bit, but I wanted to give you guys.
How many of them are cursing me right now?
Surprisingly, nothing yet. Billy says hello.
We'll get there.
But you got to try harder.
Yeah,
the night is young. The night is young.
We even got a support. Paul says it's the best road race / street course, whatever you want to call the ROVAL. You get to see it all in one seat.
All right, I genuinely believe, and I'm sorry, Massie, you should weigh in on this, but I genuinely believe the ROVAL hate is only because of this echo chamber we have on Twitter, where everyone just wants to agree with the media who say, and I know we're part of that, but people like, I don't know, like the drivers who come out, Jeff Gluck who's come out, Jordan Bianchi, who've all said, we want to see the Oval. Why are we even doing the ROVAL anymore? this echo chamber of people who just wanted to do nothing but agree. Like, oh yeah, why don't we have the oval? I honestly believe the ROVAL is still beloved by many fans, especially those that go to the track. And here's how I know that. Because way back in 2018, I actually went to the ROVAL race and I did a story with the Daytona Beach News Journal on basically the fans' reaction to it. I remember interviewing this one guy who was sitting at a table by himself up in the stands, and he said, I prefer this way more over any of the road course race on the schedule. Back then it was only Sonoma and Watkins Glen, but he said, I prefer this way more over any of the road course race I've ever been to because I can see everything. I don't just see one corner. I don't just see one part of the track and then I have to wait another minute and a half before I can see some more action. I see everything all at once because it's a stadium kind of element, and I'm up in these stands and I can see all the corners from here. And I think that's a legitimate point. That's a fantastic point there, because the ROVAL, its hybrid element, makes that possible. Massie, please continue.
Yeah, I do echo that. If I were a fan looking to buy a ticket to any road course race, the ROVAL would be the top of the list for what you said. You know, I'm a guy that grew up going to short tracks in Virginia, and the reason short tracks will always be my first love is you sit there and you could see everything. And that's what I want. Like, I don't understand. The first time I went to Watkins Glen, I'm like, well, you gotta walk a mile over that way to see this corner. And you gotta walk a mile over to see, and you can't see anything while you're walking around. And I'm like, I mean, the place sells a lot of tickets, a lot of campers and stuff like that show up to Watkins Glen, but I don't see the appeal of going to a race like that. I do see the appeal of going to the ROVAL where you can see everything. That said, in a perfect world, I would be for both. The thing is, though, when we went to the ROVAL, at that time, the road courses put on better racing than the mile and a halves. And that's why the ROVAL was a huge success the first couple of years. Now, the mile and a halves are putting on better races than the road courses. So I think until we can get the road courses better, then we should do the oval twice. But if we can get both of them as good as the mile and a halves are right now, then we should do both. Split them up. That's my take on it. Just kind of a temporary band-aid of just running the oval until we can kind of get the car more figured out on road courses.
Dalton, was it you that said that having just one race on the oval makes it that much more special?
Yes.
So do you just want one race at Daytona then?
Does that mean that we're going to turn the 400 into a road course race?
I mean, sure. If you're thinking like that, then sure.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The road course race at Daytona was pretty awesome. I like the road course races there, but at the same time, the 400 is also kind of a special race just because of where it is on the calendar, and there's a tradition there. The fall race at Charlotte is not. It's not really. There's not really much of a tradition there. It's not like I wouldn't say the 400 is a crown jewel race, but the fall race at Charlotte isn't like the cutoff for the playoffs either.
But it is the best racing that this car has given us is mile and a half. And what is Charlotte? It is a mile and a half. So why do you not want to see the best racing that we can see and witness rather than just a road course that we could potentially like see somewhere else, like Daytona or somewhere?
I will agree with it. If they're going to do this, and if they want to replace it with another road course, if they want to put another road course in the playoffs, okay, then we can talk, right? I still believe that the ROVAL is a good idea. I thought it was a good idea back in 2018. I think it's a good idea now, but you have to have a road course in the playoffs. And if you really want to go back to the oval because you're passionate about this, then fine. And I will also say this. Since since we've been talking about the playoffs and how should the playoffs look, what's the format, should the format look like? I propose you have screw it. I propose the oval is the championship finale. If you're going to change it to the oval, make it matter. Make it count. Don't just throw it in the middle of the playoffs just because.
Yeah.
Like, make it matter. Make it a crown jewel race. Make it into something, and you can't really make it into a crown jewel because crown jewels require legacy and history and all that. You can't force it, right? But if you make it into the championship finale, it's kind of a crown jewel. And what better place than the heartbeat of NASCAR? I mean, and also puts on fantastic racing. I don't think fans would be upset about that at all. So that's my proposal.
Well, I think you see that championship race in a place like Miami or Phoenix, for a reason. It's because the weather at that time of year just can be sketchy, and you wouldn't want to. Charlotte in November can be nice. It can be just fine.
Yeah.
But but generally it's going to be pretty cold, and a warm, dry place is the best for a race. So that's why they kind of like that thing. So I don't know if you would shuffle around. That'd be some pretty major shuffling to have go on. But I just think right now there's not really enough. Yeah, I understand that people love the racing at the Coke 600 now. They say that the 1.5s are great, but by the same token, though, we've seen some pretty dang good finishes here at the ROVAL. So I think you got a little bit of the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Noah Coleman says Watkins Glen worked well in the playoffs last year. I don't know why they moved it to May. I agree there. A little bit up. Michael Finley, one of our former front stretchers, says, Massie, we got to get you up camping at Watkins Glen. Maybe not next year in the May because cold. No, Finley, have him camp in May. Let him camp in May. Freezes, what off. I love it. Let's make that happen, Finley. Connect with Massie offline. Let's do it, Massie.
I'd be down to camp there sometime.
Finley, is it cold
in
May in Watkins Glen?
Yeah, didn't you during the Zoom meeting? It was like they had a question about it, and it was like the average temperature was like 50s or something there. So
whoa,
yeah,
okay, I was not aware of that.
It snowed in May up there.
Holy cow!
Like around that time.
Yeah. So
man,
yeah, it could be a fun time.
Also, I'm sorry, Brian. One more last thing I just want to say. We're talking about road course racing, and Massie said until we make the road courses better. I don't know what y'all were watching this past weekend, but I thought that race was good.
I thought it was great.
I thought it was great.
Liked it.
I was intrigued.
My topic on thinking out loud this week was how Goodyear has basically, I don't know if you could say they have done it, but they are saving this season. The last 4 races with the Goodyear tires have been awesome. Solid. They wear out. Drivers have to handle their tires better. The crew chiefs are having to be more strategic with it. And that in the ROVAL race was no different. I thought, dare I say it, I thought maybe that was the best road course race of the year. I don't know. I mean, people are going to hate it because SVG dominated, but it's a road course race. Of course,
I don't know. Coda was good, man.
Yeah,
Coda was really good.
Coda was okay. It was okay.
Good. That Kyle Busch trying to get his first win in over a year.
Yeah, but I mean that battle between Larson and SVG.
Yeah.
Also, they all might have been pretty good races if you didn't have one guy 18 seconds out in front of the rest of the field.
But you know what? But that's my point. Is the road course races have been decent.
They have
gotten better. It's just that we have one guy that's been winning the race by over 15 seconds each time.
I'm going to call it now. We're not going to have that next year because there's going to be a driver in that number 87 car that's going to give SVG a run for his money. Oh yeah, it's going to be incredible for the next decade with him and Zillage battling it out. But let's dive on into our third topic of this evening. There was some maybe shenanigans 2.0 coming to the end of the race in terms of race manipulation. Mr. Michael Massie, you wanted to bring this up?
Yeah, so there were a few things. There was the what if scenario where if the team had have told Denny Hamlin the situation going on with Chastain and Logano, would he have let Chastain beat him to keep, the bigger threat out of the championship? There's that whole thing, which I'm kind of glad it didn't. I'm kind of glad they didn't tell him, and it just played out naturally. But there's also a few deals. Well, there was a lack of manipulation by Trackhouse's part at one point where Suarez didn't go past he didn't go past Logano at the end of the
Yeah,
stage.
at stage one, at the end of stage
so
one.
There's your point right there. that's what it came down to. But there was other deals like Cole Custer didn't pass, wasn't passing Logano at one point. Was it Alex Bowman was another one?
Yeah, I have that tweet. Steven Toronto tweeted out. Apparently on the final lap, he on his radio, I think it was his spotter, the crew chief said, "Easy with it. Take care of your tires here. Take care of your tires." Why are you taking care of your tires on the final lap of the race? That makes no sense.
Yeah,
no sense.
Takes his shit in the air.
Take
care of your...
exactly. Yep, exactly.
So evidently there might have been some code words or something, but no penalties were announced today. Nobody got penalized for it. And then on the other extreme side of things, was it Zillage? Connor Zillage's crew chief read him the points standings as they run, and he got a warning from NASCAR the day before. So I don't know what that kind of sounds a little overboard for getting in trouble just for knowing like what the point situation is. So I don't know. Where do you guys stand on this whole thing? Do you think anybody crossed the line Sunday? Should there have been penalties? What do you think, John? You got something to say?
No, yeah, I was just saying that there was nothing egregious. I don't think anything. People will push things, and also, again, this is a free market society. If my driver wants the points, I think they should be able to tell him what's going on, and he can do whatever he wants to. That's not race manipulation. I don't think at all. But I think if you go overboard, like spitting your car out on purpose on the front stretch at Richmond. To just name one just hypothetical situation.
Very random example, John.
Yeah, if your arms itch and you spin out like that, and that you really did that too purposefully, I think there's just degrees of everything, and that's why the great Robin Pemberton once said that someone was telling him, "Hey, NASCAR isn't very consistent," and he said, "Well, the things that get put in front of us aren't consistent. So if we judged everything with one blanket and covered it that way, it wouldn't be right because we have different things." So the little things that went on this past weekend, I think were nothing compared to when people been really, hit with the rule book.
It's a slippery slope. And I think like the reason why we're in this position of like, take a look at like what happened with Austin Cindric, Ty Dillon at Coda. One guy takes out another person on, basically on purpose, and he didn't get penalized, right? Is that
he got 50 points.
Okay, but he wasn't suspended.
No.
Correct. Yeah, was not suspended.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that's why we're in this situation now of drivers getting out of their cars and immediately just crying to media and saying NASCAR should suspend them, NASCAR should penalize them, take away the win, blah blah blah, because he hit me, he wrecked me, and that's why he's playing. He's a very naughty boy. Look, this used to be a self-policing sport, and NASCAR used to say, "Hey, man, like he did that to you. You got to take it into your own hands." Why? Because NASCAR can't prove it. They can't unless a guy gets out of a car and absolutely admits to it. They can't really prove it. And this is what happened on Sunday with the ROVAL. It's like what are you going to say? Oh, well, Alex Bowman didn't pass him because he wanted him to get in. Or what was the other one?
It was Denny Hamlin not knowing.
Denny Hamlin not knowing. Okay, well, if they tell Denny Hamlin and then Denny doesn't pass Ross Chastain, but he doesn't say anything about it, how do you prove that? Denny can get out of the car and say, "Yeah, no, I just couldn't pass him. I just there's nothing I could have done there." Like,
yeah, and that's a very difficult one. That's your one that Mike Helton came up with the you must compete at 100%. So you can't just back off. But then again, how are you going to prove that Denny would have backed off there?
Exactly. How do you prove that? What are you going to say? Well, you could have passed him in this corner right here.
I was loose.
Mike, you're not. I was loose. You weren't in the car.
Couldn't do it.
I locked up in that corner. What do you how do you that's the slippery slope. Like at some point you have to say, look, some guys they're gonna know what the point situation is, and they're gonna make their own decisions. There's nothing you can do about it. And I think race manipulation, the line is drawn in situations like John already said with Clint Boyer at Richmond in 2013. That was blatant. Nothing you can do about it.
Very blatant is the only word to describe that one.
Exactly. Nothing, and not to mention, it also affects the entire race. It affects the entire field. That's not like a guy not passing another driver or a guy, moving a guy out of the way. That's a very individual moment. But if you spin yourself out and you complete that, it's called race manipulation, not position manipulation. And when you manipulate the entire race, that's when it becomes a problem. But you're not manipulating the race if you decide to, not pass a guy for a lap or block a guy for. Look, guys a lap down do that every single race. They'll hold up the leader. So what do you call that? Like, they'll hold up the leader because they want to stay on the lead lap. So what do you call that? Is that race manipulation? Slippery slope.
They let second go right by.
Yeah, and let second go right. It's a slippery slope. Where's the line drawn? And I think in situations like Sunday, that's not even close.
Yeah, I didn't see anything Sunday that was over the line. And honestly, if Denny did know and he didn't pass Chastain because he'd rather race against Chastain for the championship, I don't think that's manipulation either. That's competition. That's I
agree with that.
That's part of this whole process. Is if you can put down another of your competitors, why not? That should be encouraged, not discouraged. I will say that I do think, the Richmond thing obviously was crossing the line. I do think last year, Martinsville, I thought that was crossing the line too, where, both things, Bubba having a flat tire all of a sudden and the Chevy blockade of just the point where they're blocking the entire racetrack. Like, I think that was taking it way further than just, I'm not passing, one person not passing this guy. I think that if there's multiple, if you're holding up a whole line like that, like, I'm sorry, but if you want to make it move on to the playoffs, you got to be faster if you're holding up that many cars. But yeah, the stuff on Sunday, it's just part of the sportsmanship, I think, of it. And, those guys do it. And that's part of the deal with Suarez. Like, I don't blame Suarez for not passing Logano because he was trying to save his tires there to be good in the next stage. And why does he want to help Trackhouse? They're getting rid of him at the end of the year. So he has nothing to gain from helping a teammate right now. So you do you, Daniel. Go, you got to find what's the next step of your career and get the best results you can. So don't worry about your teammates.
I just want them. Oh, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say that it's a risk reward type of thing that, with the situation at Richmond, that would mean so much financially to that race team. And I think that's when you get a real clout. It's not just because you want your buddy racing with you. There's millions of dollars on the line here. So if my teammate makes it in and we're all in the playoffs now, we have all these cars, we have all this money. Hallelujah. And I think that's why they look so close at it, because there's not only that competitive advantage, but you're talking about getting onto a next round or in the playoffs, millions of dollars involved.
I just want consistency. Like, Joey Logano knew all about the point standings throughout the race on his radio, but apparently Zilich's crew chief got a warning from NASCAR. Give warnings to everybody or don't give warnings to anyone. Like, I don't want some drivers to get warnings and some drivers don't. Like, that makes no sense.
I think that was because Logano was in the position to race for the points battle, where Zilich wasn't racing for points. You know what I'm saying? So I think they were basically saying, if you're Chastain and Logano, the guys directly involved, like, how are you going to manipulate the race yourself? You need as many points as you can get. Whereas Zilich, he could finish 30th and make it to the next round. So maybe I'm just putting myself into what NASCAR's thought process probably was there. But I don't have a problem with reading out points in the middle of the race. like you said, it's up to the driver. If they want to act on it, that's their prerogative. Just don't make it too blatant.
Yeah. Noah Coleman says it definitely was not as egregious as last year at Martinsville. Paul says just goes to show you how many drivers don't like Joey and would rather race Ross. Well, I don't think it's don't like him. I think it's they don't want to race him because they know that he can win at.
Because if he just gets to Phoenix, that's all he needs.
1,000%. And Paul, our producer Trenton Worsham was at Charlotte with Anthony Damcott. They did a great job. So you can check out all of our videos on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/front stretch. Last but not least, let's dive on into Joey Logano. And once again, I don't know how he does it, guys, but he finds a way, sneaks in right at the very end, and he is advancing to the round of 8. 1 year ago, coming up, he won at Las Vegas, clinched his ticket to Phoenix, and he won his 3rd title. Massie, I'm going to start with you because I know you are going to die on this hill because it is not a year for Logano, but could this be the year that breaks that streak of Logano winning in a certain number of years?
Yeah, I can't see him. And I know I'm not just saying this because he only makes it even years, and it's an odd year this year, but I just haven't seen the speed. He's been so lucky to get through these first couple rounds, but he has not been he's not even the fastest Penske car. Like Ryan Blaney is the fastest Penske car week in and week out. So I think this time with the reset, he's at the bottom of the points. And so he's already in a points deficit. He can't have any mistakes. He pretty much needs to be up there. Like this is the round where you got to prove yourself. You got to actually be up there contending for wins to advance. And you don't see him competing for wins on a weekly basis. Now, I say all this, watch him go win Las Vegas this weekend, and we're back where we are every other time he wins the championship. But I think, I just don't see him doing it this year.
I think the championship's going to come out of that building, but not out of the 22.
Yeah,
come out of 12.
I think it is too. Yep.
Yeah, because they just got to get there, and they've been so consistent about that. But if it's just like last year, NASCAR wants to enforce their rules, right? No matter what happens, and no matter what, they don't want to be under the table making deals and not being transparent about the rules. So when you saw the situation last year with Joey, when Alex Bowman had the penalty and they moved him in there. That was just the rules, guys. And we were joking with Joey at Vegas, the first Vegas. We're joking about because he was talking about getting crap for not winning as many races and he winning the championship. And he's kind of joking about that. And I said, well, what was it that they told you at the beginning of the season that nobody else apparently knew? And, joking, of course. And he laughed. He said, yeah, they didn't tell me anything. I had the same rules as everybody else. And they just say, so I don't think at this level there's any type of backing your way in. And the penalty was the penalty, put him in last year. I don't think you can take anything away from how you got there. It's the old, what does it say? Don't hate the player, hate the game, because the player is just playing the game that under the rules are given.
Yeah, it was real quick, Dalton. If it was a flipped scenario where Logano DQ'd the ROVAL last year and Alex Bowman got added in, you know what the fans would be saying? Hendrick bias. And NASCAR's got a Hendrick bias. So you can't win. You can't win in those situations.
Yeah, Black helicopters floating above us.
Literally.
You can't please everybody, especially not race fans. But I will say that I will agree. All of us have been preaching this pretty much the entire year. Like, you can't blame Joey Logano for doing what he's supposed to be doing in the first place. Like, he is playing the game. He is doing it. He and Paul Wolf, Big Ball Paul, they are doing exactly, and he earned that nickname this past weekend too. He did exactly. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They took the risks. And it paid off for them. They know how to play this game. They've done it well. Joey and Paul both have done it for the last 4 years now, and they're doing a fantastic job with it. And I think there is something to be said about Penske as a whole, which leads me to saying, if Joey makes the championship 4, I don't think he wins because he is probably going to have to go against Ryan Blaney. And I think that 12 team is faster than them this year. I think they're better. And here's the best part about that. It's not like 23 where it's kind of questionable if they really, truly, like, if they were the best team. I think Blaney is at least like top 2. Like, that 12 team looks so good this year. They've been great this year. I know he doesn't have 5 wins, but that team has been fast. They've been consistent. I think they're ahead in the regular season, like overall regular season points. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't really looked at it, but that 12 team's been really good the last few months. And I firmly believe if they actually do make the Final Four and they win the title, they deserve it. There's no question about it. There's no debate. You don't have to raise your pitchforks or your torches and burn down. You can just and riot. You can just say, hey, he deserved it this year. And I think if they go to the Final Four, they beat Joey Logano. That said, Las Vegas, Joey's good here. Joey's good at Vegas. I am a little worried if I'm the rest of the field.
Yeah, Dalton, the thing about Blaney is every other year of his career, I feel like he got more wins than maybe times that he was the fastest car. Where there were times like his ROVAL win 2018, where there's a lot of wins early in his career where he kind of snuck up at the end and got it. This year, though, he should have way more wins. Or there were times where he was the fastest car and didn't win more times than times where he actually won. So, like you said, he would be truly deserving of a championship this year because he is, a top 3, top 5 car every single week and should have way more wins. But he's had bad luck at various times that have kept him from doing so. I mean, just think of Darlington in the spring. If a caution doesn't come out at the very end, he wins that race. Instead, Denny Hamlin gets him on the final restart. There's been a lot of those situations. So yeah, he's a guy that I think many would have no problem with. You can't really call him like a non-deserving champion if he wins it this year.
Well, there's something also to be said. There's something else to be said about performing at the right time. You see it in the stick and ball sports all the time. Sometimes a team will just make the playoffs and they're not really that good, but then they turn it up a notch. The Penske guys, last couple of years, that's kind of been their mantra. They have a fairly quiet trip into the playoffs, and then they start kicking everybody's butt, and then they get to their own little personal playground. Why, we don't know, of Phoenix, and they're able to claim those championships. So might be looking at that again this year.
I'm watching out for that 12 team, man. I mean, Ryan Blaney's got 3 wins, ties his career high, 17 top 10s already of 32 races. I mean, this guy's rolling. Everybody thinks that it could be Logano, but I'm good. Like John said, I think that 12 team, there's something special.
13 top 5s.
Yeah,
that's already the most of his entire season, most of his career.
Yeah,
and he's got 652 laps led. That is only, I'm doing the math in my head right now, that is only 16 less than his career most in 2020. I think he will lead more than that in these last 4 races here. So
I think more than Phoenix.
Probably Martinsville. I mean, I think he is. Yeah, Devin here. Seabell is good. Okay, so he's bringing up Christopher Bell. Seabell is good at Vegas, solid at Martinsville, very good at Phoenix. Watch out.
Bell should have won last year at Phoenix.
No doubt about that.
Last year in Vegas, I should say. He should have won.
No doubt about that. I think there's a few guys that you could watch out for. I think your Final Four consists of Blaney, Bell. I would argue Denny Hamlin as well, of course. And then that 4th guy is kind of up in the air right now, but. I think Blaney. I digress. Blaney is having what is probably his best season of his career, and if there is a time where he deserves the title, it's probably this year.
I think we're kind of all putting stock into. I mean, we're all putting stock into Penske. And I think we're all also putting stock into Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting any stock into Hendrick. for winning this thing. I just haven't. I know Chase Elliott just won, but it just feels like Toyota has been faster everywhere except for the mile tracks, and that's where Penske has been the fastest. Hendrick's been like 3rd to 5th every other place, but
did we lose him?
Oh, the Wendigos got
Bruce.
Oh no!
No.
Oh,
See,
man.
so John, so Massie lives in the Virginia mountains in the Appalachians, and his house gets attacked by bears and Wendigos all the time. So, yeah,
that part's not true, but he does live in the mountain area.
Well, I mean, you know,
I like the bear story. You should go with it.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that.
Sure,
we're gonna go with that. Yeah, no, and he's got to fight him off. So, that's why he's got the mountain man beard. Yeah, I'll continue what he was saying.
Okay,
sure. Yeah, no, I agree. I think if there's anybody, I know Larson was having a great race at the Roval, but I don't. It's so strange. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I don't think he makes the Final Four. This is it's so weird saying that. Like Vegas, like, I mean, look at the next three races. I think Vegas is probably his best chance, but look at Talladega.
Yeah.
Enough said. He's not good at the plate tracks. And Martinsville, which has also historically been a pretty bad track for him, other than, you know, I know he got that win in 23, but I digress. I mean, the Fords are going to do very well there also. So I think the next three races, he's got 2 tracks which have historically not been very great for him, which is, you know, a very few amount of tracks on the circuit. I think out of those 3 Hendrick cars that are left, I think you got to look at William Byron, who I could easily see sneaking his way into the Final Four. I don't know if sneaking is the word because they've been very consistent, but at this point, everybody in the roundup has been consistent.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to me. Is the Mountain Man back? Did your Starlight is it back running again?
Fought off the Bears and the Wendigos.
Yeah. 3 bears squared up against out there and
fast
took him down, and
wow. Very quickly.
Massie, did you want to continue your point of where you paused?
Oh, I don't know where I cut out because I kept talking for a while. Nobody was, but so I was just saying that I'm not putting stock into Hendrick because, like, they're good, they're great, but I just feel like Gibbs and Penske at the tracks we're running at to close out the year, Gibbs and Penske have been better at all those tracks. So I just don't know that a Hendrick driver is going to be getting it done this year.
4 out of the last 7, though, from HMS have won at Las Vegas. Take that for what it is worth. But it is Chase Elliott's worst track in the playoffs. So if you were a betting man, I wouldn't put my cards on the number 9. That's for sure. What I would put my cards on is if you were in the Vegas area, check out Trackside Live, in which Mr. John Roberts is going to be there with, last but not least for you, John, how in the world do you try and contain Kenny Wallace? Because that man has more energy than I will ever have.
Well, you can't contain him. Just try to have him have a little less coffee in the morning. No, but we wind him up. We push him on. We want him to go.
I don't think I want to contain him.
He is wild.
Yeah, just let him go. Let him run free.
There's only one Kenny. Every day to him is like the last day of school, Christmas Eve, and Saturday night, all put together.
Outstanding.
He is a treasure. He is a national treasure.
No doubt.
But do you know your guests that you're going to be having on Sunday, and then where can people find you if they're going to the race?
We're going to be inside the Neon Garage right as you come in. So if you come through the Neon Garage, we'll be right to the left. And we don't know who the guests are going to be yet, but we'll certainly put it out on social media when we know who's who.
I love it. Well, I will be
there.
there.
We might have Noah. I hope Noah Gregson comes by.
He's also a fun character.
He's always fun.
I've always said if he starts winning, him and Hocevar, if those 2 drivers start winning, they could be superstars.
It'd be dangerous.
Oh yeah, they really could.
In a good way.
Oh yeah, exactly. I think that's what NASCAR needs. They need to have some energetic young guns to get up there. I will see you on Sunday, so looking forward to
Awesome.
these two guys. Dalton, are you going to be riding this weekend? And then your next race will be
Martinsville with this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna be eating a bunch of Martinsville hot dogs. So with Trey, right? Trey's going too, isn't he?
Maybe.
Under Ed Lane.
That is to be determined, I think. Michael Massie, you are off this weekend, but where will you be the next 2 weekends?
Well, this weekend I'll be in the mountains of West Virginia, just having a nice
Fighting
getaway
off
weekend
bears.
before. Yeah, I'll fight some grizzly bears up there too, and then it's back on it for 2 weeks in a row. Talladega, Martinsville. We're gonna end the season on a strong note and hopefully give you guys some good coverage for front stretch there.
And then after Martinsville, it'll be myself and Steven Thump to round it out at Phoenix and the Crown A champion for the NASCAR Top 3 Series. But before we get there, you got to get to Vegas first. The round of 8 begins. John, it is a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to seeing you and meeting you in person this weekend. Thank you, John.
Good deal. Thanks, guys.
For Mr. John Roberts, Dalton Hopkins, Michael Massie, I am Bryan Nolen. Thank you so much for joining us. This was another edition of the Front Stretch Happy Hour Show. Big thanks to our producer, Mr. Trenton Worsham, and stay tuned for Bringing the Heat with Trey Lyle. You got Mark Garrow from PRN. He is going to be the guest, so stay tuned to that. But for Dalton Hopkins, Michael Massie, I am Bryan Timothy Nolen. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk with you next week to recap Sin City.